Hey guys, I'm Nick. On today's Q&A, we're going to answer a question that comes in from Thomas. Thomas lives in the Pensacola area. His question is about rods and why we use the rods we use. We're going to talk about it right after the intro. All right, we're back. So here it is. This is the rod we use. This is a Gloomis E6X 842S. Now that is a medium light. It's moderate fast. It's rated for 6 to 12 pound line and quarter ounce to 1/2 weight lures. Um, I'll tell you that line number is based on mono. Braid is typically higher. We use 15-pound braid, and we use this rod because it pairs amazingly with the Stratic 2500. Okay, pairing a rod and reel is very, very important. You don't want a reel that's too heavy or too large. It throws off the balance and it will cause problems and it won't be comfortable to fish with. The reason we use these is because it has tons of backbone, and we'll get to that in a minute, of why it has plenty of backbone to catch any fish you want to catch around this whole area inshore. It has a very, very soft tip. What moderate fast stands for is when it begins to bend. If you're using a fast action, sometimes they won't bend until out here. What the moderate fast does is it allows you to throw top waters, allows you to throw things that have treble hooks, and when the fish hits it, shakes its head, and runs full speed, the rod will actually absorb the blow of the fish. So when that head's shaking and that fish is going crazy, the rod just absorbs it because you're going to fight the fish with the backbone. And there's going to be a ton of people say, man, Nick, that rod is not big enough to, it's smaller than your finger. It's not big enough to catch any fish in this town. There's no way you guys use that. We didn't catch a single redfish under 31 inches in the entire month of April in 2019. All the fish were caught on this rod. Using jigs, top waters, didn't matter. They were all caught on this rod or, one of the 6 that we have. It's fantastic. The most important thing is you guys really need to learn how to fight fish. And there's there's tons of people in the area that say they're professional fishermen that have no idea how to properly fight a fish. You have to use the backbone. And I see this all the time. You get these guys out there that'll be high sticking these fish, the rod's in the air. They're using this part to fight the fish. Their drag's not even on. It's just running all over the place. And yeah, that's a great way to let a fish wear itself out and die, but you're not putting any pressure on the fish. And that was one of Thomas's questions. He was worried that these rods are too light of action to stop a big fish without, letting it run itself into the ground. If you fight these fish, this thing, look, watch. Yeah, you're not going to break it. Like, it is designed not to break. You guys can go watch all these rod building videos. If you load the rod up properly and bend it where it's supposed to bend, they don't break. As soon as you point this to the surface or point it to the air and the fish is right here, yeah, it's going to snap in half somewhere in the last 30% of the rod because it's not designed to hold a load that way. If you fight the fish properly with your wrist like this, you should be holding the reel like this, you should be pulling with your wrist. And the rod should be bending from here. Sometimes you'll feel this cork bend, man, and that's when you know you're hooked into the fish good and you're applying pressure correctly. So we put a Stratic 2500 on this medium light action rod. We put 15-pound Power Pro and we use 15-pound fluorocarbon. It's everything you need. I'm going to cut to a few clips. I'm going to show some guys fighting fish using this exact rod with the Stratic on it without any issues right about now. As you guys can see, no one's having a problem landing the fish. And the reason I'm not having a problem landing the fish is because if you do it properly and fight the fish correctly, you shouldn't be out there with a medium heavy action rod. That's great for bass fishing. It's great for pulling a fish out of heavy cover. You're not in a bass boat. You're not throwing 65-pound braid. You are throwing small, light braid, light fluorocarbon for distance. You're fishing clear waters. Really, you should be kind of finesse fishing at all times, which a lot of you probably don't think about like that. You just think about it like, oh, it's a big redfish. Doesn't matter how big it is. you need to get it to eat one, and you have enough backbone to stop it, but you need enough tip to stop yourself from pulling the hook out of the fish. The other thing I see a lot of people who don't use anywhere near enough drag. Something to consider, especially when you're in a kayak, is you don't really put out too much drag, especially in a paddle kayak. Thomas fishes on a paddle kayak primarily. You get pulled around a lot, so you can put a ton of pressure on the fish. The nice thing about being able to pedal backwards is I actually tell clients to pedal backwards all the time. It puts more pressure on the fish, keeps the fish away from you, and it will actually cause people to lower the rod tip, which will put more pressure on the backbone, which puts more pressure on the fish, tires the fish out quicker. Keep those things in mind. A lot of times you're going out there with stuff that's way too heavy. It's going to tire you out. It's going to fatigue you early. You're not going to be able to cast as many times. You might not get as sensitive a rod. You know, medium heavy is not going to be nearly as sensitive as something like this. I mean, you touch this and the whole rod will shake. It's still shaking. It stopped. All right, so it will, super sensitive. You're going to be able to feel anything that happens to it. That stuff's important, especially when a good trout comes up from behind and hits the lure swimming towards you. You don't want that soft tip, but you're still going to want plenty of backbone to land that big bull red. That's it. There's really nothing to it. A lighter action rod does not put you at a disadvantage. Sensitive, plenty of power, stops yourself from pulling hooks out of fish. It is the rod of choice. We've used a lot of different rods. Prior to using these, we used a Quantum Smoke, the Smoke series rods, which was really, really good. They became very, very hard to source, so we quit using them. We moved on to these. The other day, there was a question about the warranty. The warranty, I tell you, it's fantastic, but I've never actually had to use it. We haven't broke one yet. So we've been using these for going on 3 years now. We have not broke a single rod. We haven't had a insert come out of the tip. We haven't snapped the tip short. We haven't broken a butt. We haven't broken anything. We haven't had a guide come undone. We haven't had any problems, and we fish them every day. We fish them extremely hard. We do not baby them any manner. Yeah, that's about it. Nothing really to it. If you guys have any other questions about this, shoot me an email at nick@navarrekayakfishing.com. Comment below. Or, follow that link in the description and submit your answer like Thomas did. It is the easiest way for me to see your question. I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch. Let me know what kind of rods you guys like to use in the comment section below. And I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. And I look forward to you booking your next adventure.